Live,
Hey,
live.
girlfriend. Hello, we are live. I am here with Jenny Reyes, and we are going to be having a really fun little conversation today. Jenny, I love your resource that you have in the Brave magazine. I actually walked through it today, and I started laughing at myself because it's called From Scattered to Aligned. And I kept thinking, when I walked through it, I actually said to myself, from scattered to being able to breathe. So,
Well, when you're aligned, you can breathe, right? That's the thing.
right, exactly. And so, girls, we're going to walk through this because we want to have some conversations around taking that next brave step. We don't want to just share your story. We want to walk with you through your next story, and how can these women come alongside you and help you take that next step, whether it's being, if you feel scattered and you need to be more aligned, like we're going to be talking about today. And so you can download the magazine, and we'll put all the links in all the right places in the comments and all that for you to download Jenny's resource, because it is beautiful. It's in the magazine. And so, Jenny, before we get started, I'm going to read a little bit of your bio because I want the girls to know who you are. So, Jenny brings over 2 decades of experience transforming global brands and high achieving leaders as a certified DISC human behavior consultant and working genius facilitator with an executive education from Kellogg in strategic marketing, communications, innovation, and leadership. Oh my goodness. Jenny combines deep marketing and branding expertise with a profound understanding of human behavior to help women align their authentic selves with their professional expression. Her corporate legacy includes managing world-class brands at Unilever and being instrumental in Dove's groundbreaking campaign for real beauty. Today, she channels this expertise into helping ambitious women bring all their pieces together so their outer success finally matches their inner truth. And I should have been having my glasses on instead of on top of my head. So I could read that better. But Jenny, welcome. So glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having us. I know there's a whole group of us in this digital magazine. And of course, my dog decides to bark when we are live. Such a thing. You feel like 0.5 of a second to let her out.
Yes, well, we had to deal with this during COVID because everyone was filming from home. And I remember one, news guy where it was a very serious conversation and his little kids came in the background. But you know what? It's human. It's we've got these pieces that as women entrepreneurs, I mean, this explains exactly what it's like working from home,
absolutely.
running a business.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know Ashley uses it now. Ashley Borromeo is another fellow colleague and friend, and I hope she's listening. But one of the things that she knows I say is that the juggle is real. And it is really a juggle of managing home life, business, pets, all the things. And so the importance of actually you show up and what you're doing, bringing that clarity to yourself and for others. I believe that's where everything starts and everything keeps going, right? That's the whole piece.
That is the whole piece. And there's a lot to this. And let's walk through this a little bit. So the first part of your research, you're talking about the scattered success trap. And girls, so you can print off your PDF version of this and highlight like I did. So I highlighted because I thought some of this just was really resonating with me. You talk about you're building something meaningful. People respect your work. Your business is growing, but something feels off. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, and that also comes from experience and for myself and the people that I work with. And it's like, okay, we're going. And, you're having this massive success, but then you don't know necessarily where to focus, what needs your attention. You become the bottleneck. And then there's that whole piece of self-doubt. It's like, can I really do this? And so just to say, to say it for everybody, it's like you are doing the right things. It's almost like, where should I put my attention? Because I know I want to make this next move that will continue to grow my business and not be the hindrance to it. And I felt that. I believe you felt that. I feel like people that are listening, if they felt that, I would love to see, their comments in the chat as well. And that kind of becomes, the conundrum of how do I keep doing this? Because I did build this business so that I have the freedom, I have the time, I have the abundance. But now that if I have to scale, it's almost like I go back to the stuff that had kept me tied down in the first place. And then there's that whole disconnect or that dissonance that you feel.
Right. But the other part that I highlighted is when you say, when you're truly aligned, when your inner truth matches how you show up, everything shifts. You become magnetic without trying.
Yeah.
So one of the girls, can you imagine what it would be like if you had like your messaging, all those pieces in place, so people just are magnetized to you because it's clear.
Right. And I believe this is also a society that we've kind of gotten ourselves where we want the quick. He's done that, and so many mentors, coaches, and it's not wrong to say, like, I have this framework, just take it and copy it, right? That framework worked for them potentially because it was tailored to who they were and how they show up and what lights them up. But to take and to copy paste it without actually putting some thought into it, it's almost like you're doing somebody else's style, and it doesn't suit you. So the question really is always, is this how I would love to build my business? Is this how I want to show up? Does this actually light me up? Because what lights one person up doesn't necessarily light the other one, and what works for one doesn't always work for the other. And so just understanding and having that clarity for yourself before you do anything that moves forward. And that's what I always ask my clients is like, here's an idea, here's a strategy. How does that make you feel? Or how does it work for you? Versus like, well, what do you think? Because then when you tap into how it feels, it's like, is it easy enough? Does it feel like it aligns with what I'm trying to do? Is it alongside, we talk about branding. Is it alongside my values? Does it fit, essentially? And that's kind of where it all comes together like pieces of a puzzle.
And I love that. And I love that analogy that you use too, those pieces of a puzzle, because as you discover more about yourself and your own message, you can add that piece to the puzzle and build upon that. So I'm going to go to the worksheet too, because it's this alignment. Yes. Because I literally laughed through half of this because I picked all the boxes. So I'm going to read some of them, and girls, just tell us if you relate. We love that word. I relate. So it's chances are you've thought at least one of these things. So it says, I feel like I'm all over the place. Okay, girls, I am like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We've got, all these things, all these balls we're juggling. Who feels like that? Yeah, me. Or at least maybe you have it at some point. Everyone wants me to follow the system, and you were talking about this, their framework, their blueprint, but it just doesn't feel like me. It doesn't fit. Yes, I have experienced that because I've taken a lot of courses, and a lot of them were so great, but they didn't feel like they fit. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I love this one. And it says, I have so many ideas. I don't know where to start. This one made me laugh because I actually I call it my book of brilliant ideas. And so when I get one of those ideas, instead of acting on it or making it happen, I write it in a book and let it sit for a bit.
That's awesome. That's good. A book of ideas. Yeah.
Yes. My brilliant ideas. And I feel like I'm trying to be everything to everyone. And I know I shouldn't have to be. How many women are trying to be everything to everyone? Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I need to be everywhere, but I can't keep up. I relate. Everyone else seems to have figured out, not me. Some of these really touch your heart. And it's like,
yes,
we're trying to do it all.
And they're real, right? I feel like, that's the only reason why we're able to put it in there is to go like, oh yeah, that I've felt that. And coming up with this resource, to be very honest, was what are some of the things that I know I've experienced, the people that I work with have said to me, and have said, okay, let's see where we start. Because I always do like a 30-minute assessment, of when we start. It's complimentary, but essentially it's like, okay, where are you now, right? And how are you feeling? What would you love to do, and how can we help get you there? Essentially, is the process, because it always starts with the clarity. And once you're aware, which is what the intention of this assessment is, it's once you're aware, it's like, okay, what can I do next? What brave next step can I take? Which is the whole reason why we're here.
Exactly. And what I love that you pointed out too is that this is a starting point. It's just like you said, to be aware, but to look at it as a huge opportunity.
Yes. It's
rather
not
than
to put blame or shame or anybody. It's not to make you feel bad. It's not meant. The whole idea is awareness, and that's exactly where we always start, which is self-awareness.
Yes. So walk us through a little bit of this, the alignment assessment, because there's also an assessment. And so, yeah, walk us a little bit through that, and walk us through these little different categories and what we're looking for.
Right. So, what I like to ask a lot of questions. I don't, people that have worked with me or that know me, I'll come into a room, I'll listen, and I tend to ask a lot of questions. I have put a bunch of these questions in an assessment. This is kind of the condensed, quick version of it for people. I know any download that they have, busy people, you might just have 5, 7, 10 minutes. It's just to give you kind of a temperature check, if you will, as magazines do. And so 3 levels or 3 buckets would be: 1, authentic clarity, just making sure you understand. And again, it brings you that awareness. Looking at how you show up in the world is consistent expression. And so that essentially this is what I intend people to get to know me as. And this is how it's coming out in the world, right? And if you're receiving that feedback, and I believe it's one of those points inside the question of having that source of feedback to know that what I'm doing is aligned. And then the other one is, okay, how is it implemented? Because there are, of course, stages from just being with you in your head, as your vision, to actually being out there in the world. And how is it being implemented? Do I have the resources and the team and the tools set up to make sure that the scattered feeling or the I need to be everywhere at once, that goes away? So it's really a self-rating, a self-assessment, 1 being rarely true or 5 being consistently true. And again, the more honest you are with yourself and the more honest you go through this assessment, the clearer you will be. That's where we always start. And so giving each one a score, right? And then there's a bonus at the end that says, my authentic self is my biggest asset. It's if you want to give yourself how consistently you are as you do that. And then there's the scoring, because that gives us a place to measure where we are. And that's one of the conversations I always have, is like, we can't really change what we can't measure. And so having that piece to say, okay, I'm actually doing really well. So I'm 60 points and up, then I have a mastery in my alignment. I'm somewhere in the middle. Like sometimes I'm not as consistent, right? It could be that. And then the other one is, there's a lot of opportunity. 44 and below is a lot of opportunity to improve. And congratulations if you find that your score is there. I always say that. It's like, oh, great. Now you know. So then what's next?
Right.
And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things I just want to bring up, because there's so much to this. So I was reading through it's just the authentic clarity, the first kind of category. And I thought, oh my gosh, if you knew the answers to these questions. So I'm going to read through a couple of them because I thought they were really great. I can easily explain what makes me different in my own words. If you could do that, that's huge. I have a clear sense of my unique value and purpose. I'm confident in my authentic expertise and experience. I know what I stand for and why it matters. Girls, Yeah, if you could explore these, and of course with Jenny, and get that wording and all those beautiful pieces to it. I mean, you have those, you are way ahead of the game.
That's true. That is true. And always going back to your why, which is what we want to do. It's like, oh, I'd love to do this. Okay, why does it matter? I do it as well with my girls. It's like, oh, let's do this. Okay, why is that important to you? Just understanding and getting clear behind it is very key, because then it will keep you going, especially when times get hard, things are not consistent, and you are out of alignment. It's like, why am I doing this again? Because not everything will always come easy, right? And sometimes you find yourself asking, what's the point? And why am I doing this? And so if you know that there's something that's very deeply personal or deeply motivating for you, it helps put that hard piece into perspective. And then you
Yes.
can keep going.
Yes, and that is so important. I'm glad you bring that up, because I ask myself that very often. It's like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this, and what does it really matter? In fact, so much so when I first came up with this celebrating 1 million women and then added the being brave piece to it, I actually created a visual. It's a heart, and it's got this hashtag celebrating 1 million women. And at that time it was in the beauty we call you. And so I have that sitting up in front of me, so I see it every single day. So I remember why I'm doing this, because I
Yes.
want women to have a platform, to have a voice, to share their story, and to journey together that next brave step. And so, but I have to say those words to myself a lot
Yes.
to keep it aligned with
Yeah.
the mission, because otherwise I can get off on all these tangents and go, oh, isn't this fun? But yes, but I think those questions are so key that you are asking there, and whether you know the answers or not, but just to become aware is, yes, I can do this, or no, I can't.
Yes.
Easy
Yeah. Or do
peasy.
it completely too. Yes. Well, and that's the other piece too. I mean, there are people, and again, we talked a little bit about Working Genius. I am a certified facilitator in that, where a lot of people, they're very good at the idea stage, not very good at the finishing or implementing. And
Oh,
some are vice versa. They don't have enough ideas, but they'll do everything that comes up, right? And so just understanding some of that, especially those of the visionaries and the founders and the ones that want to create, they have all these ideas, but why doesn't it translate? Why isn't it seeing it through? There are parts of it that are not naturally in your zone of genius. And so understanding that, putting that in perspective and going, okay, I know I can do this, or find the person that can help me. It just provides, again, more clear next steps, more brave steps to take once you know and once you have that.
right. That is so awesome. And so tell us a little bit. So I'm really curious about this now that you bring it back up to, what is this? What did you call it? The genius?
A
I'm just,
working genius.
yeah,
Yes.
working genius. What is that?
So it is there. It is a book by Patrick Lencioni. He
Okay.
was the same one that wrote about the 5 dysfunctions of a team. So he's actually, a well-known author. And he and his team created this assessment that puts people that helps people identify there's what they call their zones of genius.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
won't go into it here just for time's sake. But I mean, people can find the book on Amazon. There
Okay.
is assessment that shows you that some people are very good at ideation, some people are very good at activation, and some people are very good at implementation. All to say is we can do all of it, but what actually brings you joy, fulfillment, and
Mm,
increases your productivity
yeah.
without burning you out, right? Without burning you out. So that's where the alignment piece comes in.
That is where the alignment piece comes in. And once you take the assessment that Jenny has here, then she gives you a scattered success solution page. So
Yeah.
we don't want you just to go, oh, I'm aware of this, but what can you do? So walk us through, because we've got a couple brave steps that we can do just right here on our little worksheet as we're sitting there having our coffee or taking a moment for ourselves.
Right. So you do the assessment. Now you get a score. I mean, if you're not very good at math or you're not as confident, then use a calculator. Nobody's judging. Um, but then it also asks you to reflect back on which of the 3 sections were you lowest in. right? Because that could be the first point and the first action step. And the one thing that we want to take people out of from overwhelm is action, right? You're only overwhelmed if you feel like it's too big or not something that you can do. But if you break it down into small pieces, and how interesting, Karen, this is probably the 5th or the 6th day I'm saying this consistently, where we don't ever swallow an elephant whole. And so you break it down. It's like, oh, I potentially am not very clear on or I'm not very good quite yet. My lowest score was consistent expression, for instance. And so you can go to that page and go, okay, well, under consistent expression, if that was my lowest score, the brave step is to actually make a list of words, expressions, and phrases that resonate with you and how you describe what you do. So then practice using them. It could be to mirror, it could be to a friend, it could be to Karen, it could be to, you know, a group that you're in, it could be to me. Just practice using it, right? Because then see how it rolls off your tongue, see how it feels in your body. And we know it works because anybody that shows up with a consistent brand presence, 23% of them report higher revenue in their business. So that's kind of the proof in the pudding right there in the magazine.
Right. And we would love to hear, ladies, if you have like one word that's just popping into your head that really, you know, a word, an expression, or a phrase that comes to you that really resonates with you on how you describe what you do. We would love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
or a phrase. Yeah.
Yes. And, you know, some words that are just like popping into my head are creativity, vibrancy, brave, courageous, all these things that, you know, showing up, all these different things that are just popping in my head as we talk about this. But would love to hear, ladies, what you're all thinking.
Yeah. For you, Karen, I would say you're a pioneer. I mean, you're out there putting this brave podcast on, showing people about the magazine. I feel like that would be, you know, and you're a leader, you're a way shower as well. So that's,
thank you.
That's and that's part of the reflection back, right? It's like, okay, this is something you might not see in yourself, but other people see that about you, or you are that to them. And so how does that come back into your world now to be able to, you know, express that consistently?
Yes, and you know what? When you reflect with somebody, that sure makes you feel good too.
It
you
does.
know, I think of myself as a pioneer, but I love it. I'm gonna take that to heart and hold it close. So Jenny, as we is there anything else on this page that you would like to walk the ladies through? There's little brave steps for each section.
Yes, little brave steps for each section. You can go through all 3. You can just pick one. I always like to leave people with the one thing. It's the one action, the one takeaway, the one step you want to take. It always just starts there, because one thing will always open more doors. And then you get to decide on the next one thing and move from there. And later on, you'll just see you've gone so far.
I love it. One thing, ladies, just do one thing and see which one that is. If it's a word or a phrase, we would love to hear it. So Jenny, as we close out, what's your hope for women as they walk through this?
My hope for women is that they achieve and receive the clarity that they're looking for. And they suddenly realize that, you know, it's not all out there, it's more in here. And all they need to do is to choose and to take one brave step every day. That, I feel, will help build that alignment to self and to what you're bringing to the world.
Yes. And we do have a next step for you ladies too. So if you walk through this, and Jenny also offers a little chat if you would like to walk through it with her. So tell us about that.
So I always, like I started earlier, I have a complimentary session. Once you go through the assessment, and that would be ideal. You go through the assessment, you book your call. There's a Calendly link in there that I believe is live when you go to the online section. And then we have our discussion to have a jump off point from there. It's understanding what are your needs, how or who can support you best to move forward with that.
Yeah, isn't that lovely? Jenny, thank you so much for joining us today and coming and helping us take a brave step. You know, sometimes it's just like you said, that one brave step. Just that one thing, ladies. And it's clear, it's direct, and it doesn't feel overwhelming. It feels like we can breathe. So I just so appreciate you coming in and sharing with us today.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to be here. I had so much fun.
Yeah. All right, ladies, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye now.